All right, I'm calling into order the first meeting of the 26-27. Welcome to an entire year of 6-7.
Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness.
Madam Superintendent, roll call vote.
Yes. Member Jean.
Aye.
Member Kayada.
Aye.
Member
What am I
Benjamin.
saying aye to?
Here.
Oh, hello.
Member Benjamin. Member Navarro. Member Rhodes. Member Singh.
Present.
Member Ibarra.
We have
And student member Owen.
Nikita, I'm present.
Nikita is here. Thank you.
we have a quorum. Do we have any public comment?
No public comment.
Thank you so much. We'll go into closed session.
If you're able, please stand. And begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One day.
Hallelujah.
And 4.2, our broadcast statement.
This meeting of the Sacramento City Unified School District is recorded. The recording will be cablecast on Metro Cable Channel 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast and DirecTV Uverse cable systems. The recording will also be closed captioned and video streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays Monday, July 27th at 12 p.m. and Wednesday, July 29th at 6 p.m. on Metro Cable Channel 14. Once posted, the recording of this meeting can be viewed on demand at youtube.com/metrocable14. We welcome members of the audience to address the board. Please complete a speaker form, which are located on the back of the room, and give them to our communications representative along with any handouts you may have for the board prior to the conclusion of this item's presentation. Please speak into the microphone when addressing the board and state your name for the record. Please limit comments during public comment to items that are not on the agenda. If you do comment on an item that is listed on the agenda, we will ask that you please defer your comments until your item comes up on the agenda. Please also either turn off your cell phones or place them on silent mode. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, President Jean. I am pleased to announce that the board approved the following appointments. By a 7-0 vote, the board approved the appointment of Dr. Shannon Henry as the Executive Director, Strategy, Data, and Continuous Improvement. And while Dr. Henry couldn't be here this evening, we have our Chief Academic Officer, Erin Finley, here to say a few words that Shannon sent in.
Is it? Okay, thank you. Okay, yes, Dr. Henry is not able to join us tonight, but she did share a statement that she wanted me to share with all of you. She says, I am truly honored to return to Sacramento City Unified School District as the Executive Director of Strategy, Data, and Continuous Improvement. SCUSD was my professional home for more than 20 years, where I had the privilege of serving in a variety of leadership roles dedicated to supporting students, educators, and school communities. Returning to the district is both professionally and personally meaningful, and I am excited to bring back the knowledge and experience I have gained as a district administrator to my new role. Throughout my career, I have remained committed to using data to drive continuous improvement, advancing equity, and building systems that support student success. I look forward to partnering with the board, district leadership, staff, families, and our community as we work together to create exceptional opportunities and outcomes for every student.
Yes, we do. We have 7 speakers. First speaker, Lynn Vo with Patricia Jones, yielding time for a total of 4 minutes, followed by Wendell Burt.
Good evening. My name's Linvo. I'm speaking for Rosia Richards. She's a Teamster labor representative, represent both Teamsters and Teamsters classified supervisors. She has an emergency with a family, so she can't be here. She wants me to read, I want to be clear that we support the wage increases, negotiate for SEIU. Their members deserve fair compensation, and we celebrate that. What we cannot support is one bargaining unit receiving wage increases while others are left behind. On April 3rd, 2025, this board approved negotiations for SEIU. Just 1 week later, on April 10, 2025, the same board approved negotiations for Teamsters and TCS, yet the bargaining process was not the same. Our bargaining teams repeatedly requested bargaining dates, but those requests went unanswered for months. By the time we finally got to the table, we were offered a 0% wage increase. That is difficult to understand when negotiations for our units were approved only 1 week after SEIU's. The result is a serious compaction issue. Our members supervise employees who have now received wage increases. We believe those employees earn those raises, but supervisors should not be watching the wage gap between themselves and the employees they supervise continue to shrink. Leadership and additional responsibilities should be recognized and valued. This is about more than wages. It is about fairness in the bargaining process. Every bargaining unit deserves the same opportunity to negotiate before the district claims there are no remaining funds. Our members have continued to show up every day to serve the district. They deserve the same respect and consideration shown to every other employee group. We are asking the district to bargain fairly, address the growing compaction issue, and provide Teamsters and TCS members with the equitable wage increase they have earned. Thank you.
Speaking along those lines, first, good evening, President, trustees, and superintendent. My name is Wendell Burt, and I'm a shop steward for Teamsters Local 150. We are asking not for any kind of special treatment. We're asking for equal treatment. The details that was covered, I won't recover, but I do want to add to it. Throughout our bargaining period in history, we have always negotiated in good faith. We even eliminated positions to help in the past when it wasn't even necessary. We understand that there are financial challenges facing this district, and we are approaching these negotiations with professionalism and a willingness to work in good faith and find a fair solution. I want to make this point. We are a very small bargaining group. We're only 74 to 76 people, depends on the time. We are low earners in the district, some of the lowest, and providing us a same salary increase that you provided to other bargaining groups will have a minimal impact on this crisis that we have. However, it's a very high impact on our members that are working very hard to keep our schools operating daily. It's a very hard job. It's a hard to staff job. Some positions have gone years because people do not want it. It's hard work. We are asking for equal treatment and fair treatment. We are offering that the same bargaining raises that were offered to other bargaining groups be given to us. We are not much of an impact. That we do hope that this does not continue to deepen our wage compression, hurt our morale, make it harder to recruit more people in these positions, and also retain experienced people that are already here. So we respectfully ask the board to please support fair agreement and treat Teamsters and TCS with the same fairness and respect shown to other bargaining units. Thank you.
Daniel Stowers.
Good evening, President, trustees, and superintendent. My name is Danny Stowers. I am speaking on behalf, as previous before me, on Teamsters Local 150. Every day, our members report to work before most people arrive and stay long after many have gone home. We maintain your schools, we supervise operations, we solve problems, and we make sure campuses remain safe and ready for students and staff. We understand that the district is in financing or facing financial challenges. We have never ignored that reality, and throughout negotiations, we have continued to bargain in good faith. We are asking for is simple: fairness. Other bargaining units received salary increases. Teamsters and TCS have been offered none. That decision sends a message that the work performed by our members is somehow worthless. We do not believe that reflects the values of this district. A fair contract is not just about wages. It is about respect, retention, and recognizing the employees who keep our schools operating every single day. We respectfully ask the board to support and agree that provides Teamsters and TCS the same fair treatment afforded to other bargaining units. So sometime. My father stood up here back in '09 when we had the same circumstances now. So I want to quote something from him. It's the relationships that get you through the tough times. Every organization is going to fall on them. What's being proposed is not reflecting any type of rapport, a good relationship. We hope that can improve and we get the equity that the rest of the bargaining agreements have gotten. Thank you.
Kat Avendano and Norma Galino for 4 minutes, followed by Steve Breno, final speaker.
Good evening, Superintendent, trustees. My name's Kat Avendano. I'm here speaking on behalf of the multi-site supervisors for TCS. I'm accompanied by, I was going to say some of my team, but this is our team, right? We're a unified school district. This is our team. I am going to read some notes prepared by Susie Holquin, who couldn't be here, unfortunately, but she is been with the district for almost 28 years. She's been around the block, as well as these ladies have been here much longer than myself. And I forgot my glasses, so you're gonna have to bear with me. Susie, let's see. I'm here tonight to ask the board to address the growing issue of salary compaction for multi-site supervisors. First, I want to say that we support the wage increases being provided to our SEIU employees. They have earned it. However, while SEIU employees are receiving an increase, TCS and Teamsters, who are currently in negotiations, have been offered a 0% wage increase. For multi-site supervisors, this not only creates an unfair situation, but also increases salary compaction between supervisors and the employees we lead. Multi-site supervisors oversee multiple school kitchens, supervise employees across several sites, and I will say, I did quick math, it's over 300 employees that 9 of us supervise. And we cover what's the word I'm looking for? All 80 sites in the district. If food is served there, a multi-site is supervising that site. And we ensure compliance with state, federal, and county nutrition regulations, maintain food safety standards, respond to staffing challenges, and believe me, there are a lot of staffing challenges. Just like our plant managers, food service employees, we are the first boots on the ground in the morning. We're driving through fog, rain, cold to get there before everybody else to ensure that breakfast is ready for all of our students. We respond to all the staffing challenges and make sure thousands of students receive healthy meals every day. When problems arise, we are expected to solve them. Over the years, our workload has continued to grow and our staffing has gotten lower. There are less of us than there were when I started. During COVID, we were essential workers who reported to work every day to ensure students continued to receive meals. During the recent strike, we again stepped up to keep meal service operating. We have consistently answered the call whenever the district has needed us. Leadership comes with greater responsibility and accountability. When the employees we supervise receive a wage increase while the supervisors responsible for leading them are offered none, it sends the message that leadership is not valued. It also makes it more difficult to recruit and to retain experienced supervisors. We are proud to serve this district and the students who depend on us every day. We respectfully ask the board to recognize the value of our work by addressing salary compaction and providing multi-site supervisors, TCS Teamsters with fair compensation that reflects our responsibilities. Thank you for your time. And I will add, between the 9 of us, again, did quick math, that's over 174 years of experience of employment with this district. More than half of us, 5 of the 9, have over 20 years of service with this district. It makes my 4.5 years a tiny, tiny drop in the bucket, and I've learned a great deal from this team, and they really do deserve fairness. Thank you for your time.
Steve Bruno, followed by Domatia Casillas.
Good evening. Tonight's a rather special night for me personally, because tonight would have been my dad's birthday. My father was a journalist in San Jose who wrote a consumer advocacy column, and he taught me to use my voice to speak up for those who were not in a position to speak up for themselves. That's why I'm here meeting after meeting, and I'm not going away anytime soon. Now, what I wanted to tell you guys about tonight is what the work environment looks like these days, because it is drastically different. We are continually trying to do more work with fewer people. There's a lot of conversation along the lines of, hey, is so-and-so still here? Or who's in charge of this now? And there's a lot of confusion. This is directly tied to how you guys chose to handle this restructuring, leaving it up in the air until the last minute, to the point that people just don't know what's going on. I would love to see in the future things handled more deliberately and more in advance. And I gotta say, what these people are saying about other bargaining units deserving a fair chance, they're completely right. And based off what I'm reading online, you guys are not gonna like what's coming soon regarding SCTA. But anyway, have a good evening. I'll be back.
Domatia Casillas for a total 6 minutes.
Good evening, Superintendent Kansi. Where is she? Oh, there she is. And respected board members, thank you for your service. My name is Domitila Casillas, and I'm a preschool teacher with Early Learning Care, formerly known as Child Development, and have been teaching in the program for 25 years. I am here for 2 reasons. First, to voice my concerns with our leadership in the past and where our program is headed in the future. It is my understanding that a director has been hired to lead us. And if you look at our former track record, it's a revolving door. With leaders that no one stays. No one stays long enough to see positive change. Please make sure that he or she that's chosen that their heart is in the right place, that they're committed to staying, to teachers, to families, to our community. Someone who is accessible, someone who's involved, that's not gonna use this position as a stepping stone to go somewhere else. And finally, the second reason I'm here tonight is to speak on behalf of my former coordinator of 4 years, my colleague and my dear friend of 23 years, Dr. Angel Carson. When cuts were demanded for financial stability of our district and our program, along with displaced teachers and staff and coordinators, the coordinators lost their positions. I don't understand how she was not brought back into her position. I was rescinded because of my seniority. Oh, and she's being rescinded, all right. She's coming back, but not as a coordinator. They're putting her back in the classroom. She served, I want to also mention that she could be getting paid probably more as a teacher, but her heart is to lead. She served as a coordinator for 4 years, and in that time, she boosted morale, increased enrollment, and made positive environment for all of us. I feel that some members of management, former members of management, tried to save their positions and spoke at this board meeting, putting us down that we didn't have administrative credentials or the education. And they tried to save their positions behind closed doors. And in that, they all lost their positions. I saw Dr. Gell when she first started management. She was never given a fair chance. Meetings were held without her knowledge, meetings that she was supposed to be part of. Management even refused to call her Dr. Gell, a title she worked hard for. She fought to prove herself, to be recognized for her abilities and her leadership qualities. She has proved herself over and over again with the support that she has given us all. And she's put us in a positive direction for our program. She is a woman of integrity, never self-seeking or showed favoritism. She was always fair. There were times when I needed to be corrected, and she called me in to do it, and I admired her for it. And because I learned valuable lessons. New leadership can only benefit from having a support system. With how early learning care is run under the Sacramento City Unified School District umbrella, Dr. Angel can be an asset to the new leadership by supporting them with her knowledge and her experience. Without counsel, plans fail, but with many advisors, they succeed. In closing, please give her a fair chance. She deserves it. These are some of my colleagues. Dr. Gell also was my daughter. She's 23 now, but she was in her preschool classroom. She was also my assistant at one time. She worked hard to be where she's at. These are some assistants, some teachers, some CCAs, and today I was elected to speak because I'm very vocal, so I was elected to speak on their behalf, and this is what they came up with. My colleagues and I are here today to question why Dr. Angel, who is a vital, passionate, well-qualified, and experienced coordinator, was not brought back to the ELC program. I would like the board to consider and realize not only do we need Dr. Gell back for our program, but to understand that she is an important part of a team of management that currently has all been entirely let go. Our program needs and deserves cohesiveness, stability, and an ability to hold on to colleagues that are well-respected, knowledgeable, and literally the only lifeline we have to our program. Please help us understand why. Why not bring her back? The very qualified manager that we have left that our program and staff is counting on and needs. Thank you for your time.
No more public comment. First speaker, consent agenda, Steve Bruno.
Good evening again. On July 5th, I believe it was, I sent an email requesting to add an item to the agenda, followed the procedure, but yet it has not been added. It's the same one I've spoken about, verbally asking for it to be added. I'm asking that you guys suspend your stipends or explain to the public why it's okay to cut people's hours back until they lose their benefits, but your compensation is not something that can be touched. You owe it to the public to either act or explain why you're not acting. However, instead of having that added to the agenda, yet again, you've added an item to pay someone their stipend when they miss a meeting. That's kind of the opposite of what I'm asking. So since I followed the procedure, please add that to an upcoming agenda. Thank you.
I'll move. Second.
Preferential students.
Student preferential vote.
Aye.
Member Jean?
Aye.
Member Kayada?
Aye.
Member Benjamin?
Aye.
Member Navarro? Member Rhodes?
Aye.
Member Singh?
Aye.
Member Ibarra?
Aye.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent McCarn. I'm Nikki Davis-Malevsky, President of the Sacramento City Teachers Association. For being the middle of summer, there sure is a lot going on. Tonight, I want to limit my comments to the special education tax that is on the agenda. Nearly a decade ago, in 2017, when at the 11th hour we reached an agreement brokered by then Sacramento Mayor Darrell Steinberg to avoid a strike, it included an agreement to work together to pass a parcel tax. Unfortunately, the leadership of the district at that time was more committed to fighting educators rather than working with us to improve our district and find solutions. But here we are, 9 years later, and district leadership, the school board, and our union are more aligned than probably at any time in U.S. SCUSD history. A little over 1 year ago, we celebrated the successful renegotiation of our collective bargaining agreement after a very constructive 6 months of negotiations. Much of our time in those negotiations throughout the spring of 2025, we were focused on how to create a state-of-the-art, multi-tiered systems of support. The single topic that we spent the most time in bargaining on was MTSS, which our agreement with the district defines as a comprehensive, systematic approach to teaching and learning delivered in inclusive, culturally sustaining learning environments. This tiered model of instruction and support ensures the academic, behavioral, and social-emotional success of all students. We agreed to start the implementation at 10 elementary schools, which included adding school nurses, school psychologists, social workers, and for the first time in our district's history, reading intervention teachers. As you will hear a little later tonight, the pilot program has worked, which is why we are so supportive of generating additional revenues to allow MTSS to expand throughout the district. When the Individuals with Disabilities Act was signed into law in 1975, the federal government committed to funding at least 40% of the cost of providing free and appropriate public education. Not only has the commitment never been followed through on in these 50 years, more recently, the already inadequate federal funding has, under this current federal administration, been cut even further to under 12% of the actual costs. To its credit, this school board has not turned away from its commitment to do everything possible to provide services to students with disabilities. It has led on the need to ensure students get the services that they need and deserve. Supporting the special education parcel tax will allow us to continue to lead on that important work. In our last election, we all worked together to pass an important SCUSD bond measure. Our collective effort resulted in 72% of voter approval. The special education tax will also be a big challenge, and we look forward to working with all of you to get it passed. Thank you.
All right, 9.2, student member report.
So I do not have a report that is detailed today, but I will say happy summer to our students. I know it's a little short and we're coming back to school soon. So I would like to encourage all of our trustees to please visit some of our school sites at the beginning of the year to truly kind of get to know the environment that our students are in, and spread peace and kindness.
Thank you. 9.3, superintendent's report.
Thank you. Good evening. Although we are in the midst of summer break, there is so much happening across the district. I would like to congratulate, I don't see that she's in the room at the moment, but I want to congratulate Manpreet Kaur and our youth development team on their another successful year of Summer Matters program. Summer Matters was designed to reduce summer learning loss, strengthen academic skills, and help students prepare for a successful transition into the 26-27 school year. Over 4,000 of our students enrolled this year for academic enrichment and social connectivity in a safe setting over the summer. Students also had the opportunity to explore spaces away from our schools, including our Summer at City Hall program for high schoolers that ended today. There are also many field trips for Summer Matters students that included the Challenge Center, the Planetarium, Wonderland, and Discovery Kingdom. Also, thank you to our CTE department for arranging a student tour of Cal Epic for a zero-emission technology showcase to further connect their learning to industry standard opportunities. Thank you again to our youth development staff and also our educators and site staff, classified and certificated, who chose to serve our communities this summer, as well as our administrators. Also, during the summertime, we have many facility updates happening across the district while the school was not in session. And I'd like to thank Chris Ralston and our facilities team on their planning and execution. And if you, as you go out to visit school sites and see and tour with administrators or members of the facilities team, it's just amazing the work happening. In addition to our brand new campus rebuilds at Fern Bacon Middle School and Pacific Elementary, we have many projects from across our district that were selected from our equity-based facility master plan. Some of these projects include campus expansion at Abraham Lincoln, Didion, and Da Vinci, pool replacement at McClatchy, new security fencing at Camellia, David Lubin, James Marshall, playground replacements at Crocker Riverside, a new track surface and lighting at Kennedy, new solar canopies at Kennedy and Burbank, schoolyard forests at John Sloat and Rosa Parks, electrical gear replacement at Golden Empire, a gym floor replacement at Umoja, John Still, and Da Vinci, campus modernizations at Bowling Green, Chacon, and Ethel Phillips, new gym video boards at Johnson and McClatchy, and these projects were made possible thanks to our local voters who chose to invest in educational facilities, and we thank them for their continued support. We're eager to share more about what's going on in our community and our community build, so please follow our social media channels for further updates and progress. And a huge welcome to our staff that has returned to work in these last week or so, those that are returning soon. We are so excited for this year for our administrators, our certificated staff, and our classified, with lots of work to do. Despite our difficult times, we are here to make sure that students have the experience they need. So thank you.
And 9.4, the president's report. I have three things to share tonight. The first is that yesterday the board got to spend a good 6 hours together, and for the first time our student board member joined us. We got to spend some time just reflecting on this last year, conducting a SWOT analysis for those of you that have done a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats analysis. And that just led to some really rich conversation about the hearts, the passion, the community focus, the equity focus that is represented on the board, on the dais here. We are a multifaceted organization. There is a lot going on. And the most important thing is the kiddos and their education. So as we have our conversations as adults and we approach the many, many items ahead of us, keeping those students and their education at the focus was a big part of our conversation yesterday. We also discussed a lot about our board committees and how we create better spaces and facilitation of conversation between our educators, our staff, our community members, our parents, and our students. And so committee chairs and leads, your liaisons on the board will be reaching out to you to kind of talk about ways that we can better facilitate that this school year. And then third, I am really, really thrilled to announce that our policy update was completed. Our superintendent asked that all staff make sure all policies were updated by June 30th, and I want to say we pretty much got it done. And so huge shout outs to everybody who stepped up and made that happen. I think one of the favorite whispers that came to me in my English teacher heart happiness was we didn't want to be in that room. We didn't want to have to read the policy, but as we did, we started to really reconnect with the work that we're doing and how the policy can actually provide clarity and consistency and equity and transparency in the work that we're all doing together. So our part of updating the policy has currently finished. CSBA is now putting together full documentation of that, and then that'll be coming to the public for review before the board officially votes on that. We anticipate late August or September. So yeah, a lot going on this summer for a summer meeting. And that concludes my report. I'll move on to 9.5, information sharing by board members. Would anyone like to share? All right, we don't usually have a meeting in July, so we're good. Okay. And we're all excited to stay ahead of schedule as we are right now. I know, I didn't just jinx us, did I? Okay, 10.0, public hearing. Welcome. This is a public hearing and approval of the 2026-27 SELPA Annual Service Plan and Annual Budget Plan. We've got quite a team. Welcome.
We do. We do. Good evening, President Jean, members of the board, superintendent, district staff, and community. I am Erin Findley, Chief Academic Officer, and I'm excited to be joined tonight by our new Assistant Superintendent of Special Education, Fran English, and our SELPA Director, Betty Jo Wessinger. We are here this evening to present the Special Education Local Plan Area, or SELPA, local plan for the 26-27 school year for your review, public hearing, and formal approval. Everything we discuss tonight is grounded in our district's core value, actively interrupting systemic inequities to ensure every single student can learn and thrive. To contextualize the SELPA plan, we have to look at our district through a single system lens. You will remember this slide along with the next two from our April 16th Special Education Update Board presentation. Special education and general education do not exist in separate silos. If Tier 1 instruction and early interventions in general education are ineffective, the demand on specialized services becomes unsustainable. Strengthening our general education foundation is both a moral imperative and our primary fiscal strategy to ensure specialized supports are available for those who truly need them. But for the purpose of this evening's presentation, the adoption of the SELPA plan, we are focused on special education and the legally required accommodations, modifications, and services provided to students through each individualized education plan. And with that, I'm going to hand over the rest of this presentation to Assistant Superintendent English and SELPA Director Betty Jo Wessinger.
Thank you, Erin. Building on that foundation, our special education vision is anchored in what we call rightful presence. We believe students with disabilities belong in every educational space and deserve full access to a free, appropriate public education. Our mission is to partner directly with families, school leaders, and labor partners to break down traditional barriers and build inclusive, student-centered systems of support. To turn this mission, you're going to click for me, right? To turn this mission into actionable progress by June 2027, we have established 6 clear goal areas. Number 1, increasing placement in the least restrictive environment, or LRE. strengthening our fiscal oversight, improving IEP compliance, raising overall academic achievement, building our full continuum of behavioral supports, deepening family engagement and satisfaction. Tonight, we are fulfilling 3 key objectives: conducting the legally required public hearing for the SELPA local plan, providing you with a high-level overview of its key operational and financial components, and requesting your formal approval to submit the plan to the state. For context on the timeline and compliance, this plan adheres strictly to California Ed Code Section 56205 and federal IDEA mandates. While normally due on July 1st, the California Department of Education extended this year's deadline to August 15th. We engaged our community advisory committee with an initial draft in mid-May and provided an updated draft reflecting our adopted budget figures on July 2nd, the same day our official public notice was published. And now Betty Jo.
Good evening. I'm going to present the plan to you. So what is a SELPA plan? The SELPA local plan is our operational and governance blueprint. It documents how special education services are delivered, how resources are allocated, and how decision-making is structured across the district. Under federal IDE regulations and state law, this plan is the mechanism that ensures we uphold our legal obligation to deliver a continuum of high-quality services in the least restrictive environment, setting our students up for college and career readiness. The local plan is a legal requirement under IDEA and under California Education Code and Code of Regulations, and it demonstrates the SELPA ensures that students receive a free and appropriate public education in their least restrictive environment. The local plan document itself covers sections A through E, spanning governance, support plans, annual services, and our budget. The bold sections are those that we are bringing forward to you for your approval this evening. Sections A, D, and E are due annually, while Section B is due on a 3-year cycle. So we are looking forward to partnering with our Community Advisory Committee and staff this year to re-examine our governance and administration structure in preparation to bring you Section B for your approval in the 27-28 school year. Fiscal decisions are guided by transparency, equity, and student needs. The local plan establishes how special education funding is received, allocated, monitored, and reported. Funding sources may include federal IDEA funds, state special education funding, local contributions, grants, and special education funding sources. As we look at the numbers, it's also important to acknowledge the systemic funding challenges we face. Nationally, IDEA federal funding was intended to cover up to 40% of excess special education costs. In reality, it only covers 10 to 15%. Compounding this, special education is funded based on total district attendance rather than actual student need. As enrollment declines and special education numbers increase, fewer overall state and federal dollars are stretched across more students requiring complex mandated services. So starting with moving into the sections in Section D details our financial breakdown across federal, state, and local revenue sources alongside our matching expenditures. So we're going to look at our revenues first. Here is a summary of the sources of the revenue, noting the district's contribution as a local contribution. Total revenue from all sources is $258,779,097. In this slide, you're going to see the breakdown of the other sources of income that we receive outside of our state and local funding. This includes special education funding for inclusive practices, the general fund contribution, workability, and preschool early intervention. And here are our expenditures based on the mandated services required by students' IEPs. As you can see, staffing is our largest investment in special education. We rely on the skills and the talents of our dedicated staff to ensure each and every student with an IEP receives the services to which they are legally entitled. When we are not fully staffed, the cost of staffing is reallocated to contracts using savings from vacancies to ensure students receive services from outside vendors when we do not yet have the staff available to provide them. For fiscal oversight, in order to maintain our strict financial discipline and to closely monitor the special education budget in light of increasing expenditures, we have implemented a 3-tiered fiscal oversight framework for this past year. So Tier 1 is daily. We track requisitions between our internal sheets and the Escape financial system to guarantee immediate order and accuracy. Tier 2, weekly, we hold regular procurement pipeline sessions with purchasing and vendors to eliminate delays in instructional materials and services. And in Tier 3, which is bi-weekly to quarterly, leadership meets bi-weekly to monitor contract utilization, reconciles monthly with business services, and uses a position vacancy calculator quarterly. This allows us to temporarily redirect salary savings from open staff vacancies to cover necessary agency contracting without exceeding our total board-approved budget. Finally, Section E outlines our annual service plan, providing a complete description of all of our specialized services offered across the district and categorized by state CalPADS reporting codes.
In closing, approving the SELPA local plan affirms our commitment to legal compliance, fiscal accountability, and most importantly, high-quality instruction for our students with disabilities. We respectfully recommend that the board approve the SELPA local plan tonight. Thank you, and we're now open to any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Do we have any public comment?
We have one, Jennifer Womack.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer, and I'm speaking tonight on my own behalf and also as a parent of a special needs child and also the secretary and treasurer of the Community Advisory Committee. But I do want to be clear that I'm not speaking for the CAC as a whole. I couldn't get a hold of everyone, so I don't know the factual opinions of all of our executive members. So I'm speaking only for myself as a parent, a volunteer, and someone who's spent a lot of time looking at the SELPA and past ones. The SELPA plan before you tonight is not legally approvable. I'm saying this collaboratively, but firmly. There's a lot of missing pieces that aren't filled out. The review of the SELPA plan was similar to how LCAP was, just a review of it. It wasn't collaboratively done per ed code. Also, when it was presented to us, it was presented by a pre-recording at our CAC meeting, not even by the person in person. However, I also know that the SELPA plans have been turned in late in previous years, and that doesn't necessarily stop funding just yet, and like how Betty Jo said, it doesn't have to be turned in until August 15th, so I'm asking if we could not approve it and maybe do a special board meeting, as you guys talk about, to where it can be adequately filled out. A huge concern of mine was the $800,000 that is for special education supplies. We have 7,000, roughly, students that are in SPED in the district. That's approximately $115 for all supplies per student per school year. That's the pull-ups or diapers for pre-K that are in SDCs and up through whatever grades that may lessen a bit. That's for sensory stuff, for everything. And yeah, I think that it just needs to be looked at more deeply, more transparently, because it hasn't been. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, board discussion. Member Nanglinta.
Thank you. Hi. So my question is related to the student impact piece. What's that? No, I'm just wondering why I say that. Yeah. I'm sorry.
We do have a question, so.
Yes.
Question is okay, yeah, for the
Okay, thank you. So my question was related to slide 9 on the student impact piece. So I would like to inquire about how students and families are asked about the SELPA local plan and kind of what the needs are, because that was not mentioned during the slideshow, and I think that that is a very important piece because at the end of the day, this does heavily affect students and special education funding. So at the core, my question is, how are students and families kind of inquired, and how is that a part of the accountability plan?
So we have a community advisory committee, and that committee, Jennifer just spoke on behalf of on behalf of herself, and she's part of the committee. That committee convenes, and students are welcome as well. And so at those meetings, and I'm new here in the district, so I'm not sure what those meetings looked like last year, but from my experience, they're collaborative, where the special education team from all across the district gets together with our community advisory committee to collaborate on ways to address special education and work on serving all students who have special needs. So it sort of depends on the composition and who's available to attend, et cetera. Families are very busy, and we understand that, so we offer multiple means for them to participate, as well as students.
All right.
Did you want to add anything, Mary? Okay.
So kind of as a follow-up, is there a grassroots administrator to family or administrator to student process of inquiry that is taking place, or is that not existent?
So the CAC is actually a formal process that's required by the SELPA. I don't know that we would call it grassroots, and I'm not aware of Sac City having a grassroots
What I
approach.
mean by that is more so grassroots is kind of like a term that I'm using to kind of describe the process of inquiry. So it would be, like I kind of outlined again, administrator to student or administrator to family. And I have not personally been to a CAC meeting, so I don't know how that's going down. I would love to attend. I would love to attend a session as to where students are actually inquired about this. So if there is, I can give you my contact information. But what I'm asking for is like tangible, actual, like it doesn't have to be one of you guys talking to students, but just anyone in a team. If there is a team, is that possible? Okay.
Yeah.
I would say it's absolutely possible. One of the things I recently shared with our new special education leadership team was the Student Advisory Council's presentation to the board last spring, with your first area being a focus on special education and inclusion, and the recommendation that there is a peer-to-peer mentor program, but also really wanting to explore how do we bring students with special education needs into the conversation more. So they are aware of that. They are aware that the Student Advisory Council exists, and really excited and looking forward to being able to partner with you more moving forward.
All right, thank you so much.
Member Benjamin.
Yeah, thank you, Owen, for that. I was on that same wavelength. So thank you for all your hard work. I feel like on page 8, if we can go to page 8, as we know, SELPA is it's needed, and it's wanted in special education's probably our biggest ticket item, right? And so I feel like a plan has to have orders and priorities. And when I look at these bullets, I don't know if they're in order or not, or if they're just were put there, but we have to have an order. What are the priorities, right? When I look at this list, I looked at number one is being defines governance and decision-making structures, right? Because that would be inside where I think the CAC would live with regard to their advisory, right? Their advisory piece. We get a lot of conversation from CAC as it pertains to SELPA to where things, as you just heard, where things kind of, are a little bit questionable. On page 9, for example, student impact. When I look at this again, plans and priority. Plans have to have priorities, right? So what is the priority in this list? So for example, to me, it would seem that it would be early intervention, right? Because then that would activate pretty much everything else. How can you give inclusive educational opportunities if the early intervention piece to where you need to see where the student is and how we can reincorporate them into, as someone said, a rightful presence, right? How can we do that if we don't have kind of identify what that early intervention piece looks like? We spend, and we know it's expensive, but I think that we need to concentrate on that front end piece that really, really, really looks to identify, students who really, really need these services. So we're not over ordering services for these students. And so I would like to see, these put in some type of order of priority, right, to where it can it makes sense at the end. So there's like an actionable and a really tangible outcome to this. And so that's just my comment. Thank you.
May I respond to that just very briefly? Thank you for that. I want to clarify the difference between the SELPA local plan and the special education priorities. So this is a document where we are documenting the things that are happening. It's not necessarily a strategic plan, at least not in the form that it's in right now. Can it be that in the future as we look at section B, particularly around the governance and administration? Yes, we can move in that direction to creating it as a more strategic plan. I do want to just bring you back to I think this is slide 5 around the special education goal areas and what the priorities are within the special education department this year. And so the SELPA plan doesn't lend itself necessarily as a strategy document. And so that's why we wanted to share both the guiding philosophy around special education and general education as being two halves of one cohesive whole, because the gen ed piece is where we're getting at those early interventions, and then thinking about what the vision and mission is, and then the goals, and how this is the sort of the direction of the special education department, whereas the SELPA plan right now, as it's written, is more of a documentation of what's happening. And so we are looking forward to looking at the SELPA plan moving forward, and how does it more accurately reflect the strategic priorities of the department. That was difficult to do this year given the leadership transition that we've been having. So we focused more generally, or more specifically, like what can we focus on within the department. The SELPA plan, as it stands right now, is reflective of the adopted budget that was adopted in June. So those dollar figures reflect what has already been adopted in June, and this is documenting that for right now, along with all of the services that are provided. So you should have an actual version of the plan in your board documents for tonight, because this is just the overview, right? The whole plan is in your documents.
Thank you. I was also actually going to talk about slide 8. And I was thinking about yesterday as we were reviewing committees, one of the things the board was really diving into is we've got these board committees. What is the work that they're charged with doing, particularly as defined by like ed code or grant funding, the specifics of it. And realizing as we looked at the Community Advisory Committee, its number one role really is about the SELPA, right? And our current committee has expanded in so many areas about community engagement and supporting families and students. But I don't know if somewhere in there we've lost the focus on the SELPA piece of it. So as our new director, and as I believe our new overseer of SELPA, what are some of the thoughts and ideas you're bringing about how we improve the collaboration and the conversation on the CAC's responsibility of overseeing our SELPA or advising in the SELPA.
Well, as I shared, we facilitate the formation of the Community Advisory Committee, and then we have amazing parents who kind of run it, and we support that all along the way. Some things that I've found to be helpful is to hold multiple events with the CAC in addition to the meetings, hold parent workshops, presentations, field days with families of children with special needs, and invite everyone. So there's lots of ways to improve that relationship, and that lends itself well to then applying that to how we serve our students and how we see our students in their rightful presence to be included in just about everything that we can include them in. So in answer to your question, we have a lot of work in front of us, and we recognize that. Betty Jo and I come with a lot of experience in running large special education departments, and so we have a lot of ideas for how to improve that relationship with our parents and build their trust and earn their respect. So our educators are amazing, our teachers are amazing, and we just need to bring it all together in a cohesive package that shows families how much we love their children and how much we care about their success.
Yeah, I would definitely advocate that everyone I talk to is invested for our students. And it's about getting a system that's actually working for our students, for our educators, for our families. Part of the conversation we had yesterday, and I'll let Member Ibarra is our liaison to the CAC. Of course, we have our board special education ad hoc committee where Member Ibarra and Member Kayada are our representatives. I know Member Benjamin has considered being a part of that as well, but they're also on budget, which asks a lot. And as we were looking at committees yesterday, we realized we do have certain committees where the board has specifically appointed a person per area, and that's not something we've done with the CAC at this time, but we started the conversation on if we were perhaps interested in that. Member Ibarra, do you want to speak to that at all? Ask about that at all?
Actually, I do, and I'm going to give a little context onto why we got to this part of the conversation. So I have participated on several committees in this district, with the CAC being the one committee that I walked into one time, and my experience made me not want to give my time in that space, right, for lack of a better way to say it. Now that I'm in this role, and I'm the liaison to CAC, and I've experienced the year of meetings with our committee and direct interaction with them, whether it be one-on-ones or in the meetings, hearing public comment as folks are coming and sharing with us, whether it's from the CAC committee or other committees, there are things that I think we need to do better at with how we are utilizing our advisory committees. And so I think what has happened in CAC, and I can only speak to what I have experienced, I can't speak to what I haven't. I think what I'm gathering from my experience is that there's a lot of really good conversations that happen in this space, but there's very minimal work actually focused on oversight of the SELPA. And I think that the reason for that is in this district, we have no other space at school sites or in the district to actually be collaborative and try and do better for our special education students. Yeah. So with that said, an idea that I proposed to the board was that we need to, I think, reestablish what CAC is and what we legally should be doing in that space, while creating a space for all of the things that families want to share with us, to bring their ideas and to bring their feedback and to let us know what's working and what's not. And in order to do that, I think that we do need to look and consider at running this space similar to other committees where we do have representation from each of our areas. Now, with that said, I understand that because of the complexity of what it is overseeing, we don't want to have that rely on the committee that's elected and put together, because that's not a proper representation of the entire district. So what I am proposing is that we create this space to have its SELPA committee that is going to focus very heavily working with staff. And I'm going to share this as you are both in these new roles for the district. We, as an entity, need to move more and more in a space where we are actually working together collaboratively with constituents and families. And I think that this is a way that we kind of show that we say, hey, committee, you will work with staff to focus on SELPA. We will then allocate, or not allocate, but appoint someone to represent each of our areas to create a separate space under the same umbrella where we can have the conversations with constituents. They can give us the feedback that we need to collect for the decision making for this to happen, and other stuff, like in our special education committee, where we have heard in the CAC space, parents want voice. They want to be part of the conversation of where we are headed with what we want to see in our special education department moving forward. So I think that if we are all in agreement with that, that will help us to, one, really focus on getting this legally compliant as we go into this next school year. And two, we are hearing from the families we need to hear from as we implement changes and cuts in the next few months. So that is kind of a lot of information I've just thrown out there, but that is kind of where my brain is at when I think about the functionality now, and where I know we want to be based off of what I'm hearing from families in the CAC space and what I'm hearing from my fellow colleagues on the board. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Member Navarro.
Hello and welcome. So, is this your first board meeting as the assistant superintendent?
Yes, it is.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So, I wanted to, I was looking at some of the slides regarding like the funding and actually how we get funding to cover the expenses. And I saw that we don't get very much funding. As a matter of fact, and I was looking at slides, 9, 10, and 11. And then basically it's listed that most of our special education general fund contributions is coming from your general fund.
Yes.
So I don't know if we're like special in that way. I guess we are special, or does this happen all over the state? Like, basically.
It's, yeah.
Okay. So I was glad to see that it's also listed as goal number 1 to have a better handle on it. And obviously we, as you heard, we have a bunch of issues with providing services. But also we have a lot of challenges regarding how we're spending our dollars. And I'm just looking forward to what you can do to help us in this very special issue. And obviously we want to contribute. We want to continue to provide special services to the students as we're mandated to do it, but we want to do it. So yeah, I just wanted to say welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for taking on this role. It's going to be challenging.
It is. It's challenging, but I love it. I'm a special ed parent on a personal note, and this matters to me a great deal.
Awesome. Thank you.
Member Kayada.
So I will also say welcome and hello to our new special education leadership team. Really looking forward to the work that I hope we can lean into this year. I know it feels like a lot of changes all at once, but I'm really hopeful that this is the year that we can finally turn around special education. As April mentioned, the CAC being a space of where parents with students with disabilities can come into the district. That was my entry into the district. And I will say I agree with what the public commenter, Jennifer Womack, said. It doesn't feel like the engagement is there to the extent that if I were in her shoes, and I was in her shoes, it's difficult to recommend approving this plan when it doesn't really feel like it was built with the community in mind, which the law specifically contemplates. I will say, looking at this slide that we have up from Member Navarro's comments, it's a lot of money, but I'm proud of those investments. I'm proud that we are spending this money on our students who need the support. That's, I think, the number one thing we should do as a district is make sure that our kids who need the most resources get those resources so that they can get their education. But we need to make sure that the money we're spending is invested well, and we're getting them not just a pile of services, but actually improving their education in the least restrictive environment. So to the extent that we are not engaging with our CAC enough, that really concerns me. We've made a lot of progress in special education this last year, including having this new team before us today. But it feels like with everything in special education, and I've been at this for, I think, 8 years now in this district, it's always 2 steps forward and 1 step back. We do a little bit, we feel good, we've got a plan, and then all of a sudden it's like, but we didn't run the SEPA plan by the CAC until a month before we had to approve it. That's a big step back. I think we really need to improve our engagement with the CAC, but I'm also, for lack of doing what we've done in the past, I don't want to promise improvements, but then have to stamp this tonight because we have a timeline to meet. But I'm also cognizant that even pushing this back a couple weeks is not going to give us that level of engagement that we need. It really is about improving it moving forward. I think part of it is what Member Ibarra mentioned, which is, I wouldn't say it's even about our relationship with our CAC or who we're bringing in. For me, it's a matter of the board taking ownership of the community relationship with our staff. And if we recognize that that's not occurring to the extent that we can feel comfortable relying on those conversations, because that's what the CAC exists for. Mm-hmm. We're asking for our parents who have more time to devote to this than we do as a board to get into those conversations with staff, and that hasn't been happening yet. It wasn't happening when I was in the CAC. We need to do better, and I think this board is showing that we're committed to making sure that happens. So with that in mind, I think I will say, I'm at a point of, I don't think this document is what it needs to be, primarily not because of compliance or anything, but because I don't think it has the community voice in it. But I also think we need to approve it tonight, and then really commit to delivering on making sure we do it better next year, making it so that this document is something that is built with our community throughout the year and not just kind of something that happens at the end of the year and it's like, here it is, last minute edits, rather than we built it from the ground up with you.
Yeah.
So hope that wasn't too rambling, but I guess my takeaway is, I'm not fully comfortable with this. I'm not fully comfortable with where we are with the engagement with our community. I have a lot of hope right now, but it's really going to be a trust but verify to make sure that the hope I have can actually be delivered on this year, because it hasn't been in the past. So.
Yeah.
And you all weren't part of this, so.
Well, yeah, and we appreciate that guidance. We are totally committed to the improvements, and we have worked in places where the CAC was very functional and collaborative. If you make that space accessible and comfortable, even when the conversation's uncomfortable, if parents feel welcome and like they can come there and speak freely and be collaborative, they will come. What we see a lot of times across the state is parents don't come because they don't feel welcome, they don't feel comfortable. And so our goal between Betty Jo and I, we will ensure that parents are invited, and welcomed, and we hope to get as much involvement as we can. Because involvement has been a challenge, not just in Sac City, everywhere. Parents feel disheartened sometimes, and then they don't feel like they can participate. So one of our goals is to make sure parents know they're welcome. We want to hear from them. We want to meet them. We want to talk to them.
Yeah, and the CAC has done amazing work really over the past 2 years under Val's leadership at bringing community in and more resources for parents of students with disabilities to get to know each other, to engage. Mm-hmm. But the other half that is really on the district side, I think, is not just, hey, we created a space for you and you can get to know each other, but we're actually listening to you and getting your input to deliver on these documents that are the legal documents. So it's not just a nice space, but it's a place where your feedback actually makes an impact on the district.
Yeah, and it's not, we try not to treat it as just procedural. It has a utility to it that will help us get where we need to go with our parents and earning their trust and keeping their trust.
Okay, thank you.
Member Ibarra.
So, and Aaron, I think this is more like for you. I think what I'm hearing consistently from constituents is it doesn't feel like we're actually being heard. It sounds like you're just telling us your ideas and then seeking our support at the end when it's due, right? And so with that in mind, I think as we're going into the school year, both for CAC and LCAP and any other committee that falls under your department, I think all of them, I'm not really sure. But I think that it's important for us to be very intentional in those spaces. I hear you and where you're coming from and all of the things that you just shared with us, Fran English, I think is your name. Sorry, nice to meet you. But I'm sharing this because you are not, I don't want to say new to Sacramento, but you're new in this role. And I think that it's important that in these spaces where we are intentional about the things that you just called out. Because historically, it has been said that that's what is wanted, but at the end of this last school year, we heard loud and clear that that's not what people are getting. So that's kind of why you're here. I'm just trying to give you context about why you're hearing some of what you're hearing. Sure. So, I mean, that's kind of all I wanted to say. But I think, Erin, if we need to like sit down and like talk about that more in depth, we can do that too. I would appreciate that. Yeah.
And Superintendent McCard.
I just wanted to say welcome and thank you both for Erin's leadership, for Fran stepping in and here we go, and for Betty Jo also stepping in and here we go. I too have hope and am excited about what the leadership team can do. There is a lot, and I just want to echo that it's not solo work. It is the work of every department, of every perspective in the district, and welcome.
Thank you.
That's fine. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to 10.2.
Actually, this
we
is
have
an
to approve.
action item.
There is an action item.
I'm sorry
So no,
to
don't
say.
apologize.
We will
to
go
slide
sit
21,
down,
please. We are taking action.
I move.
Do we have a second?
Point of inquiry?
Yes.
Is this amendable or is it just an as is?
It would be as is at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, since we moved it already. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, and student preferential vote?
Aye.
Roll call vote.
Member Jean?
Aye.
Member Kayada?
Aye.
Member Benjamin?
Aye.
Member Navarro?
Aye.
Member Rhodes?
Aye.
Member Singh?
Aye.
Member Ibarra?
I abstain.
We are committed to community.
10.2, resolution number 3597, calling on education parcel tax election.
Thank you. And as our presenters come forward, thank you so much. We just want to welcome you and get started. All right. Good evening, President Jean, members of the board, staff, and community. Tonight, district staff and I both bring you both a celebration and a critical decision. We are celebrating the implementation and continuation of our multi-tiered systems of support. That is MTSS. Proof of concept at 10 of our elementary schools where we are building the infrastructure and capacity of our educators to provide the early interventions necessary to transform outcomes for our students. At the same time, we are presenting options regarding a proposed local parcel tax for the November's election to ensure long-term, stable funding to protect, improve, and expand these vital services and student supports across our district. And somebody has the little clicker. Okay. So what you are going to hear from our esteemed panel here, our agenda outlines this evening will proceed and include a discussion of the MTSS Proof of Concept program, hear directly from implementation staff, discuss expansion plans to school sites, review details of the proposed local funding measure, and outline the election timeline. But before we begin, I want to emphasize our core philosophy: special education is not a separate location. It is a specialized service built on a strong general education foundation. We cannot strengthen specialized supports without first fortifying early interventions for all students. When we support children early, we prevent unnecessary referrals and keep intensive services available for those who need them most. I'll now hand it over to our Chief Academic Officer, Erin Finley, to share the vision driving this work. And as a former teacher, I'm just very excited about all this.
Thank you, Superintendent. At its core, our MTSS framework is designed to eliminate systemic disparities and replace chance with equity. A student's level of support should never depend on bias, opinion, or classroom assignment. At our 10 proof of concept elementary sites, multidisciplinary teams, including intervention teachers, social workers, psychologists, nurses, MTSS specialists, and administrators, collaborate with classroom teachers. Together, they deliver early, high-quality interventions directly to students based on need, regardless of their education designation. When properly resourced, MTSS keeps students thriving in general education settings while ensuring our specialized services are sustainable and effective. To share how this works in practice, I'm going to turn this over to Principal Jennifer Santos from SUU Elementary, and in place of John Cabrillo, MTSS Specialist Melanie Bean this evening, we have President Nikki Davis-Molesky joining us to share some of the high points at John Cabrillo.
All right, good evening. My name is Jennifer Santos, and I have had the privilege of being the principal at SUU Elementary now going into my 5th year. I'm here today to share with you the importance of a continued focus on multi-tiered systems of support and the positive impact this focus has had on SUU Elementary. As you know, implementing a multi-tiered systems of support, or MTSS, is essential because it fosters a proactive, data-driven approach that addresses the whole child, including academic, behavioral, and social-emotional needs. We know this approach works, as it has been replicated in countless districts nationwide and drastically positive results, including at my school. At SUU, we have the most phenomenal staff. From our office manager and our clerk to our instructional aides to our teachers, I can honestly say they bring their A game every single day. And they care for our community tremendously. But care and skill aren't enough if we aren't working together in a systematic way with the resources we need. Implementing MTSS has created synergy on our campus that has done more than just create pockets of greatness. We are now a cohesive team that understands our roles, uses data to drive instruction, provides timely early intervention and reteach based on data, and has clear processes that we follow and define protocols. And the result is greatness. We're closing the achievement gap every day, and it's exciting to see. I'm excited to share that SUU, over the past 3 years of implementing MTSS on our own, and then now last year with being a pilot site, we have reduced chronic absenteeism by 20%. We've implemented programs to improve mental health and social emotional learning that have resulted in a culture of belonging, safety, and care. We have increased achievement in reading and math, as well as improved outcomes for our English learners. We have been able to provide high-quality instruction to a diverse group of learners in their least restrictive environment, and to prevent more students from being segregated into special education programs that continue to widen the achievement gap. This year alone, with the additional resources of reading intervention teachers and an MTSS specialist, the majority of our kindergartners moving into 1st grade are at or above grade level. This is a first in many years, and we are excited. Although we are ecstatic about our results, we are also anxious. We know this approach works, but we aren't certain if our district will be able to continue to support this important work financially. We are concerned that when the going gets tough, or we haven't reached every metric in a short period of time, the funding will get cut. Progress isn't linear and success takes time. I ask the board to continue to support the implementation of MTSS in our district and provide the resources we need to continue to move the needle in a positive direction. Every dollar we spend tells a story of what we believe is important. I'll repeat that. Every dollar we spend tells a story of what we believe is important. When we prioritize MTSS financially, we are communicating our commitment to our community. We are saying with our dollars that we value changing student narratives from chronic failure to consistent success. We can't afford not to support MTSS. Thank you for your time.
Good evening again. I'm Nikki Davis-Malevsky. I'm now standing in for Melanie Bean, who's the MTSS specialist at John Cabrillo Elementary School. Melanie had planned to be here tonight, but unfortunately is under the weather. Like the principal from SUU, Jennifer Santos, Melanie was going to give us all a brief and insightful glimpse into the immediate impact of the implementation as meant to John Cabrillo. In the short time of implementation, the staff at John Cabrillo has been able to reopen their library that's been closed since COVID. They've been able to reduce the initial special education testing because of the additional time available for the school psychologist and intervention resources that previously were not there. They've been able to partner with the Chinese Community Center and offer site and community literacy activities. Additionally, they were awarded the first District California Department of Education Pathway to Biliteracy Home Language Recognition certificates. And this is just the tip of the iceberg of the amazing work happening at John Cabrillo and the other 9 pilot sites throughout the district. Now, speaking for myself, my entire career at SUSD, over 26 years, we've been fighting for intervention, like reading intervention teachers at all of our elementary schools and community schools, and now the implementation of MTSS. It was so long ago when I began advocating for this, it was actually just response to intervention, the academic component that we now pair with social, emotional, and behavioral supports. But here we are 26 years later, and it's finally happening. MTSS has been hard fought for, well planned, and is starting to show success. We cannot go backwards now. We look forward to working with all of you and our broader community to make this success continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer and Nikki, for that. I will now hand this over to Ben Gaverser, who is advising the district on this from a legal perspective.
Thank you very much. Let's see if I can move this up a little bit. Oh, great. Good evening. My name is Ben Gaverser. I'm an attorney at the law firm of Olson Remcho, and we represent cities, counties, and special districts across the state in drafting parcel tax and other election measures. And I'm really excited to be here tonight. I'm a Sac City Unified alum. I went to Didion Elementary and Kennedy High School, so when I was asked to help advise on this measure, I was very excited. So as the last 2 speakers described, these early intervention programs really work, but the district needs sustainable funding. And so this proposed parcel tax measure would do just that. Federal funding has fallen short for over 40 years, and this measure will help bridge the gap. While the district will always meet its legal requirements to serve students, this measure allows Sac City to go beyond the baseline, expand opportunities, intervene earlier, and strengthen support for every child. And so now I'll talk about some of the technical pieces of the parcel tax measure that's in your packet. So the proposed parcel tax needs to be enacted by a 2/3 vote of the people. And if you decide to put this on the ballot in November, it's a $95 per parcel per year tax starting next year, with exemptions for seniors and Social Security recipients. And this is a special tax, and the funds are constitutionally required to be spent on special education programs and initiatives, including early intervention, student support, and specialized academic programs. All of the revenues stays with the district. It can't be taken or redirected by the state or federal government, and we anticipate initial revenue of $10 million. So next, I'll talk about the timeline here. So tonight, the board isn't voting to adopt the tax, they're voting to place it on the November ballot. So if it's approved today, the board directs the superintendent to submit a copy to the county registrar of voters. And by August 7th, the county superintendent will call and consolidate the election with the November 3rd, 2026 election. The board president may submit a ballot pamphlet argument in favor of the measure, and on November 3rd, 2026, the measure would be on the ballot, and if approved by a 2/3 vote of the people, it would become law. And I'm happy to answer any other technical questions about the measure, but thank you so much for having me tonight.
Thank you very much. Do we have any public comment?
We have two, Kelly Swain, followed by Steve Bruno.
Thank you and good evening. I appreciate all of you being here and all the hard work you do every single day. My name is Kelly Swain. I'm a mother of children in the district. I'm a homeowner and I'm a realtor. And just like many families in this district, trying to do my best to make ends meet every single day. The program that just got presented here is phenomenal. There's no doubt we need something like this for our children. But I also feel as though it is our duty and your duty to think about the other consequences that come with putting something on a ballot and putting this on the backs of our families who are living in this district. I work every day with families who are trying to figure out a way to afford homes in this district, to bring their kids into a place where they can have support programs like this. And I will tell you, having done this for 20 years, every single day it gets harder and harder and harder to be somebody who is able to be in this district and to own a home. And I'm sure many of you understand that struggle. Our families are already facing rising property taxes, increased insurance costs, rising utility costs, and just cost of maintenance in general. Everything is getting more expensive. The property taxes we're already paying are thousands of dollars every single year, and of that, about a third of it already goes to our education and our education programs. Understand this is a different program and a different bucket of money, but I just watched this body pass a $258 million budget for next year. Let's find a way to put this program into something that we're already providing funds for. This is not just $95 every single year for a new homeowner. My personal property already has $380 of these types of parcel taxes. This is what we're asking our families to continue to step up and bear the burden of mismanaged funds, frankly. Not your fault. This is something that's been in existence for a long time. But I'd ask this body to find a better way to pay for a program like this and not to put it on the ballot. Thank you.
Good evening yet again. First of all, I want to say I am a huge fan of MTSS. I think it's a wonderful concept and it's amazing. At the same time, I understand why some people are reluctant to have taxes increase. But honestly, since I don't live within the district boundaries, I'm not going to take a stance either for or against the parcel tax itself. But I wanted to take a moment to speak about the process. If this gets approved tonight, then the next couple of weeks, the paperwork gets filed and it gets put on the ballot and then doesn't get voted on until November. And then if it gets approved, they start charging the taxes as of July of 2027, it said. So this is kind of like steering a ship. You have to start now to get that turn made way down the line. And I think it's great that you guys are learning to do things well in advance. I wish that such an approach would have been used with the reorg. Because leaving it all to the last minute, figuring it out as things went, did not go well. And similarly, with the concept of potentially needing to ask the state for help, that's another one where you have to start the process early. So I just wanted to compliment you guys on, steering that ship early, and maybe we can see that approach in other things. Thank you.
Board discussion. Our student board member.
This is more for the board. So I'm worried for renters as it comes up, because we all know that when property taxes are imposed on parcels, landlords are just going to shift it over to the renters. And as a working class renter myself, that is kind of scary. But I also see the benefit in this because I have that, like I'm a working class renter myself, and I see that my mother has to work 3 jobs just so that we can get by. But I asked her about this parcel tax because we do live in the SUC area, and I'm pretty sure that she was on with it because she believes in the beauty of public education. And it's not like this is just going to go without, it's not going to go without accountability. We have advisory committees for this. We have the Citizens Bond Advisory Committee, and we will construct another committee to oversee this as well. And so I think that this is necessary for our students because as it stands, we're constantly talking about how we need more money, but also when I talk to parents as well, it's more of if given the chance to, pay more taxes with accountability of where those taxes, of how that tax money is being spent on public education, I would. That is the response that I'm getting. I surveyed families in person, and I think that it's more so, like, my worry comes from just my background, but also communities are willing to pay for this as long as we have good accountability and oversight. So the crux of my speaking here today is that I think we should definitely prioritize creating something similar to the CBOC for this parcel tax if it does pass in November. And also, I would like to push for diversity on that committee as well. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. No one else is jumping in? I thought we would be. Member Kayada.
Okay, just some brief comments, and I will be voting yes on this. And the reasons are because I think this is a steal at 10 times the price. I think this is exactly what our students need. This is what our community's values are, is investing like this in the program we just heard about. And I think ultimately at the end of the day, what makes me the most excited about this is that this is offering a different and better option for our students with disabilities. This isn't what our current program is, which already is dramatically underfunded, and it is providing the federally mandated legal minimum services. This is about moving upriver, upstream, and identifying the needs that these kids need before they get to the point of needing those minimum standards and actually offering them better options. So I will be more than happy to have this on my property tax bill. I'm looking forward to sharing this with the community.
Member Singh.
Thank you. I think I want to be clear about the message that something like this sends, which is our commitment to our students and families. And I'll say very clearly, choosing people over profits at the time when our federal government can pass laws and bills that send trillions to our defense budget. Apparently, we over here have to talk about them not meeting their promises from 40, 50 years ago, which was a promise of nearly 40% towards special education while we're getting 12 or 13%. So I understand the pressures that this may put, but if I really break it down, it comes down to 26 cents per day. And 26 cents per day, including families that I totally understand are struggling, I hope is a fair and honest investment in our students and our families at a time when our federal government fails to meet those needs. Perhaps our local community can showcase their commitments and the values that we have for our students for those who don't seem to see it in DC. So I support this. I will be voting yes as well. Thank you.
Member Ibarra.
I, as a mother of a student with an IEP, want to share that I am also in support of this parcel tax and a little bit of context behind why. So my daughter, who now has an IEP, didn't always have an IEP. And she didn't actually get the IEP until she was in high school. I had been requesting it since she was in middle school. I knew in elementary school that she needed extra supports. However, she attended a school who at the time was receiving the site improvement grant funding that sites get sometimes. So because of that, my daughter actually had an experience where Oak Ridge Elementary, and I'm going to toot the horn because they did a lot of hard work, they actually had a multi-tiered system of support set up in their school. It was the culture of how they did school. So because of that, although at the time, Lisette probably needed an IEP all the way back in elementary school, we actually were able to get her through elementary school because of what was going on. And so since I know that that took extra funding, and I know that that is the reason we were able to have those supports and have a decent experience up until we got her to middle school, I understand deeply why this tax is very important for the future of how we fund the multi-tiered systems of support, and a big part of that, getting those early interventions in so that we can make sure our students are actually thriving once they are in a space of receiving those, whether it's through 504s or IEPs or, those extra supports. So that is why I am supporting. I understand very deeply the impact of, I'm fortunate that my daughters both were at that elementary school through a SIG grant, but that is not the reality for most of our struggling schools. So supporting this parcel tax can actually change the dynamic of, I think, multiple things. I think one of the ones for me that I would like to see the data on, because I'm almost certain we'll see it, is literacy. And that is something we keep hearing about over and over and over again from constituents, from other entities, from other advocacy groups. So that is why I'm supporting this parcel tax.
Member Benjamin.
I echo those sentiments as well. As someone who proudly worked in this special education department in many capacities, I honestly feel as a community we can't afford not to afford this try at this parcel tax. I'm looking at the SELPA review, and it's our projected revenue. It almost matched the projected federal revenue that we'll be getting at 4.17%, a little under. So we need this, and so I'll be in complete support of this tax. Thank you.
I had so much fun hearing what Nikki and Jennifer shared, because it brought to mind all these wonderful, such special students that I've gotten to work with as a teacher. And Nikki, I was thinking about your bringing up RTI, right? That was the acronym at the time, and how it did focus on just the learning, and that as we began to dive into the literacy, the learning that students needed, realizing more and more it's about the whole child and their mental and their emotional health, their social well-being, and all these, their behavioral supports, and how all of that together is so vital for literacy and learning to occur. Jennifer, you mentioning the attendance, right? Like on one hand, as a board member right now looking at a budget, I'm like, yay, attendance, that helps. But one of the things we can also focus on, every school day a student misses, they're missing the opportunity for learning. Because as a teacher, I am constantly incrementally teaching. So if you're not there at any time, you're missing a key component. And when our schools become places where students are eager to attend and they feel safe and they're welcome, and the fact that this multi-tiered systems of support, like, it's yet another acronym, and how do we make it real for folks to understand what we're talking about in multi-tiered is seeing every single child for the special, unique, amazing critter that they are and what they're bringing, and that what we as a public education system get to be a part of, and the reality that the funding is not there for us to do this well. And so I am just so proud and so happy that we've worked collaboratively so quickly to bring this together. Thank you, Superintendent McCarn, for heading this up and making this go forward. Thank you to everybody. There's too many folks to name. This is a special tax, a special education tax. I'm ready. Let's do this. I think we're ready for voting unless there's, okay, student preferential vote.
Aye.
And roll call vote.
Member Jean?
Aye.
Member Kayada?
Aye.
Member Benjamin?
Yeah, aye.
Member Navarro?
Aye.
Member Rhodes?
Aye.
Member Singh?
Aye.
Member Ibarra?
Aye.
I think that's unanimous support. Let's do this. 11.1, Letter from Sacramento County Office of Education, SCOE, and County of Sacramento Fiscal Accountability, Joint Letter of Procedures. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, President Jean, Superintendent McCarn, board members. My name is Nicholas Schweitzer. I'm the Associate Superintendent for Business Services for the Sacramento County Office of Education. I work for County Superintendent Dave Gordon and with the district's fiscal advisor, Luz Cazares, to provide fiscal support and oversight for the district. I have with me Mr. Chad Rind. He is the Director of Finance for the County of Sacramento. In Sacramento, that role is both the auditor controller and the treasurer tax collector. So what does that mean, though, for us? So essentially, all the districts in the county, including the County Office of Education, all of our whole funds are held in the county treasurer. And Mr. Rind essentially acts as our banker. He's responsible for the security and making sure those funds are available for payments for local agencies in the county. Is there, Chad, anything else to add to that?
You've captured it well. Good evening.
All right, thank you. So we're here to provide some information on some processes that we've worked with district staff to implement related to the cash balances and cash availability and payments. So first of all, I'm going to provide a bit of background because this can get a little bit in the weeds. So in addition to, as the County Office of Education, in addition to the regular fiscal reviews we perform, we also do a lot of other functions for the districts in the county. For all the districts, we reconcile your cash balances in the county treasury. For most districts, not this one, but for most districts in the county, we also administer the software that the districts use for their accounting. We run their payroll. We process their electronic payments and print their checks. And then we audit a lot of we do audits on their vendor payments. So we do not do that for Sac City Unified School District because this is one of 2 districts in the county and really a few in the state that have what's called fiscal accountability status. So the district requested that way back in 1998. State law requires that an audit be performed and then the county superintendent and the county auditor controller do that. The district got an audit at the time of their financial accounting management controls, and they were found to be adequate. And so the county auditor and county superintendent of schools approved it about a year later in 1999. And that was implemented through an agreement between SCOE, the district, the county auditor, and the county treasurer, who are the same person but acting in both roles. Of course, as I said, the county treasurer is involved because they are essentially the banker.
I'm sorry to interrupt. We have a request that you be a little closer to the microphone so that we can record it and people at home and watching. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Thank you. You see attached to your agenda a letter that we sent on July 1st implementing some new procedures related to that. Obviously, there hasn't been really any changes since, the late 90s when this was implemented. So what has happened? Why are we making some changes now? So, way back it's really because of the district's fiscal struggles, obviously. So back in February, we began discussing the district's cash flow issues. As you're all aware, FICMAC came here, presented to this board, and actually recently updated their cash flow projections. They're currently, they're still, as they were in May, they're continuing to project that the district will exceed, all of its internal, external borrowing options by the end of February. So, the county and SCOE have an interest in really making sure that the district does not find themselves in a position where issuing payments that cannot be honored, and just want to help the district manage its cash flow. So going back to fiscal accountability status and what does that mean, and giving a little bit of background before Mr. Rinn sort of takes over and talks about what changes we're making. So what are the benefits? In essence, the district can designate a disbursement officer that is generally the director of accounting, and that officer can then issue payments really without needing to come to the county office of education or the county auditor controller first for processing those payments. Whereas otherwise, really, it's certainly back in when this was first implemented, it was a very paper-heavy process. The districts would have to send a lot of paper over, all the check. We still have one district that does this. They send us all their checks. They send us all the backup documents so we can audit them. We stamp their checks with the county superintendent's signature, and then we send them out. That's mostly done electronically, but this district does not have to do that. All they have to do is send us and the county auditor the payment files when they issue the checks. But there are some obligations, which of course is to follow procedures that both we, the county office, and the county auditor establish, and we're changing some of those procedures, plus provide certain reporting and data, which of course we're requesting some additional reporting and data. Of course, all with the objective is making sure that, again, that the district doesn't find itself in a place where it's issuing payments that the bank cannot be that the county treasurer cannot honor, and the county treasurer is really obligated not to honor any payments that are made for a district that does not have cash to back those payments up. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Rinn.
Good evening. So as Nick has talked through kind of the background, we've implemented updated accountability procedures, and this is not only just for our benefit, this is also for the benefit of the district. And so the district under these procedures will provide reports to us of your planned payment issuance 2 days in advance. That allows us to measure, do you have sufficient funds to honor those payments? If you do not have sufficient funds to honor those payments, then the district will be asked to basically cure that. You have the ability to move money around within your various funds to the extent that that's legally allowable. That gives you time to evaluate those options, to move funds as necessary, so those payments can go out as necessary. Or you have the option, if you get to the point where you've exhausted your internal options, you have the ability to select or hold payments, determine what you're going to prioritize, what you're going to pay, and what are the priorities of the day. We are coordinating regularly with your fiscal and administrative team. My team and Nick's team as well are coordinating to make sure that we remain in sync throughout the process. So in short, I think Nick summed it up that essentially the district can't issue payments if it doesn't have sufficient funds. And so the way I would describe it to you is you're basically in control of your own checkbook right now. You have the ability to write checks, you have the ability to sign checks, whereas what Nick talked about with other districts that don't have fiscal accountability status, they don't have their own checkbook. They have to make a request for a check. SCOE's got to review it. My office has to have a role in it before that check ever gets printed and leaves the building. And so essentially, if these procedures aren't honored, that could be a future state where you would return to what other districts have, where they essentially don't have their own checkbook, they can't sign their own checks. It has to go through that additional review process before they get issued. I don't have discretion to allow you to go in the negative. So if the district does issue checks that you have inadequate funds for, I can't honor those. I don't have a magic pot of funds to be able to honor that. And we have had other districts, not school districts, that in the past have run into situations where we've had to stop their payments. We've had to stop payments for fire districts and park districts that don't have adequate funding. And if there's inadequate funding here, we would have to do that as well. And so again, when you get to that point where you don't have adequate funds, if that does materialize, it does mean that some type of payment won't be able to be done on time. So at that point, the district will have to select what are those obligations it can honor and what are those obligations that it's not able to honor at that point in time. An additional item that we wanted to at least make a request of you is related to your school bond funds. I know that may be something that is considered as to can bond proceeds be used to help temporarily aid your cash position. SCOE has a role to move those funds around in the county treasury to request us to transfer between the district's various funds. And the county does have a role as the fiscal agent to make sure your debt is paid. We would hope that if the district does take that approach, we would want to make sure that we have an opportunity to just evaluate any legality and our role in that process. And in closing, we stand prepared to work with your staff as you navigate these fiscal challenges. We wanted to make sure that we came to you and explained to you today what these procedures mean, because they can have a lot of financial jargon in it. But I think if you think of this like your own personal account and your own bank, if you don't have adequate funds, the bank is going to stop you at some point. They're not going to honor your checks. Your debit card won't work. It's the same thing with local government as well in the county treasury, is eventually, some districts get to that point where there is a inability to make payments for a period of time. And so Nick and I stand prepared to answer any questions that you have on this item.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment?
No public comment.
Any board discussion? Member Kayada.
I'd like to thank you both for being here today. I know at the bottom of the letter, you say, we recommend you agendize this so you can discuss it and so the community can hear about it. And when we got the letter, the executive committee got together to decide what's going to be on the agenda. And I will say, to me, this was a slam dunk. We should have this information out there because we have a tight budget right now. We're not up here denying the fiscal situation we're in. I would almost liken this to, you were doing well, you had a good job, you got laid off. You're a little tight on cash, so you need to live paycheck to paycheck for a little while, and you need someone to make sure you're not just writing checks that you can't cash. I think this is appropriate. I'm glad, as a taxpayer, not just as a parent and a board member here, that there's a check in place that we have multiple agencies working together to make sure that if you get a warrant from County of Sacramento on behalf of Sac City School District, you can cash that. I had one check get issued by the district here when I was on the board of reimbursement, drawn out of the wrong account and it bounced. We can't be doing that. So this is actually, to me, very positive. I appreciate that we were able to work together during our time of tight cash to make sure that our checks are still good, our warrants are still good. And then looking forward to making the changes we need to make so that we can back away from this some point in the future and get back to letting the county staff do the other jobs that they have to do. But for now, this is a good thing. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like when I looked at slide 4, it was just very nice and clear. There's a lot of clarity here, and I don't have any questions. Thanks for what you said, Member Kayada. I feel like that kind of captures it. Like, yep, we understand there is a lot going on, and we appreciate the true supports and helps as we navigate all of these things. So thank you for that. Thank you. I think that's it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
11.2, new CONCAP random lottery process.
All right. Good evening, President, members of the board, and Superintendent McCarn. My name is Dr. Leah Clorty, and tonight the instructional assistant superintendents, including Rick Flores, Stuart Bushnell, who's serving as interim, and Chuan Zhuang. We will be presenting on fairness and equity in student enrollment and providing an overview of the new CONCAP random lottery process. As we begin, it's important to note that this work was grounded in Sacramento City Unified's core values and guiding principles. So you might wonder why our enrollment process is changing. Previously, if a school grade level reached contractual capacity limits, the district applied a last student in first student transferred model, commonly referred to as con-capping or contractual capping. The Office of the Attorney General found this practice to be discriminatory. As a result, the procedural change is strictly mandated under our stipulated agreement with the Office of the Attorney General. To ensure a fairer approach, the state now requires a randomized lottery system rather than transfer decisions based solely on a registration date. Tonight, we will share how this process will support a more equitable and transparent system for student enrollment across Sacramento City Unified. I'll now pass this to Rick Flores.
Good evening. Initially, the Attorney General CONCAP plan proposed that all students who enrolled at the beginning of the previous school year be included in the CONCAP lottery. We recognized that this approach would create unnecessary disruption for students and families. In response, we convened a diverse CONCAP work group that included parents, school principals, and district leaders. Together, we examined the proposal and collaborated to develop an alternative that better balances equity, transparency, and stability for our students. In this process, we also sought direct feedback from our community through a family survey conducted in May 2026. That input was instrumental in refining our proposal. The result is a collaborative, community-driven solution that uses smaller, localized lottery windows by limiting the lottery to the specific schools and grade levels experiencing enrollment challenges. We significantly reduced the number of students who could be affected while still meeting our enrollment obligations. Our proposal provided absolute protections for student groups that are excluded from the lottery process. These protected groups include unhoused and foster youth, SDC students, students with an actively enrolled sibling at the same school, children of active school site employees, previously CONCAP students from the previous year and students that were CONCAP'd in the current year, and administrative transfers for safeties and other concerns. These protections reflect our commitment to equity by ensuring that our most vulnerable students and those with unique education or family circumstances continue to receive the stability they need. CONCAP begins during the annual fall enrollment leveling process when enrollment in a grade level exceeds the maximum contractual capacity at a school. Step one in our process begins by seeking voluntary participation before any lottery is considered. We actively encourage families to volunteer for a CONCAP transfer to help resolve enrollment issues whenever possible. If voluntary transfers do not fully address the over-enrollment, we move on to step two by notifying guardians that their student's grade level has exceeded capacity, that their student is eligible and will be included in the lottery. Families whose students are selected through the lottery then receive detailed communication regarding their new school placement, available supports, and next steps. This process is designed to be transparent, equitable, and student-centered, ensuring that enrollment needs are addressed while minimizing disruptions for students and families. Next up is Stuart.
Good evening. CONCAP in the first 15 days of school, balancing classes in the fall. Who can be identified to be placed in the lottery? If a mandatory lotteries are needed, only non-exempt students who enroll for the first time during this window are included. The date window from the last day of the 25-26 school year through the 10th day of the 26-27 school year. In some cases, the district may have to go back further. If a student enrolling when the grade is already at maximum capacity, a member of an exempt group, and no other students entering during the established date range. CONCAP after the 15th day of school. What is CONCAP after the 15th day of school? This occurs after the fall leveling process is finalized. It is active through the remainder of the year only if a class becomes out of compliance with contract mandated limits. Date windows. Students who registered from the first day of trimester 3 of the 25-26 school year to the current date will be identified for the CONCAP lottery unless otherwise exempt. If the student entering is exempt from the CONCAP lottery, then the district will continue to go back by trimester of the preceding year until a lottery pool has been identified. Lottery pool restrictions. Rather than a full school year looking back window originally proposed by the state, the work group negotiated a much shorter, restricted look back period. Guaranteed return rights. Students who have been reassigned to a new school due to CONCAP retain return rights to their home school and can also choose to remain at their new school permanently. I'd like to pass it off to my colleague, Tuan.
Thank you, Stuart. That was a lot of information. So I'd like to sum it up with the last two slides. Clear and timely communication with families is a key part of this new CONCAP process. For example, the first week prior to the first day of school, families will receive an initial notification when a grade level is nearing capacity, encouraging voluntary transfers before the lottery occurs. During the first 10 days of school, if a lottery becomes necessary, families are notified and have an opportunity to speak with the school principal about all their options. And before the 15th day, students selected through the random lottery receive a confirmation notice with their new school assignment and next steps. Why does all this matter? The new CONCAP process represents a significant change in all of our previous enrollment practices. The new process is required under the stipulated judgment and is designed to ensure a fair and legally compliant enrollment process. It also increases transparency and community awareness of our enrollment processes. How will this impact SCUSD students? The updated CONCAP process was needed after the previous system was determined to be discriminatory by the OAG. As a result, more students may be identified for CONCAP that have been in the past. Students who are members of protected groups still remain exempt from the CONCAP process. And then lastly, what are our next steps? First, we will continue to meet with the CONCAP work group and the Office of the OAG to refine this process. We'll also update district forms, policies, handbooks, websites, and conduct staff training to support successful implementation. Now we'll open this up for questions and board discussion.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment?
No public comment.
Any board discussion? Member Ibarra.
First, I want to say thank you for this presentation and also for all the work that went into putting this together for this change, because I know that it took a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of thinking in the middle of all of the other chaos of having to do that for other things too. So thank you for this, because I know that it wasn't easy, and working under the pressure of an attorney general does not make it any more easy. So, any easier. So with that said, I just have one question for you all. I know that we have some schools that are more attractive that people try to get in, and sometimes that means that they may end up on a wait list or not getting into the school. So just really briefly, because those are also the same community of people that we hear from after registration, and if they don't get in, we start getting all of the emails, right? So because of that, Are there any changes that stand out for that process with this new change that families should be aware of?
Ultimately, the messaging is specific and clear.
Okay.
Where there is no leeway for a space that we're not doing it correctly.
Okay, thank you. I know I've talked to some of you individually and I kind of had an understanding, but I'm asking more for the public to have. This actually is going to make all of the processes feel more equitable when it comes to where you end up after you register. And I think that as we move forward, it's important for us as a board to be aware of this change and how that also means when we start to get those emails again, because we see them in very specific windows throughout the year, that we are prepared and well educated on this process so that we can get that information out accurately. So thank you.
Member Kayada.
So when we first heard the Attorney General was interested in this, I have to say, I don't enjoy that outside pressure forced us to act in this way, but I do think that the Attorney General was right to look at our practices for enrollment because I do think they have been discriminatory and problematic for way too long. In this district, it's not just the last in, first out that's been a problem. It's the unwritten rules. It's the fact that you could contact a board member, contact an elected official, and it would seem like the rules would change for you. It was the fact that getting into, how Member Ibarra said, the more attractive schools used to be getting up, literally waiting in line. And all these things benefited people who had the privilege and the ability to be connected to people or to devote their time in the middle of the day to get registered in the right way at the right time, to go and bug the office manager day after day to find the exception. So I think the biggest thing we're doing is not just the change from last in, first out, but it is the clarification that these are the rules and they apply to everyone and they're written and you know what the process is. Because I think the biggest thing as a parent is not trying to get your kid an advantage over someone else, it's to make sure that there's not some advantage that you weren't aware of that was available to you. So by posting it and following those rules, I think that is going to make our district a lot more equitable for all families. I think one request I have in terms of that fairness and transparency to families is that we make this available to our families on our enrollment website, not just as a wall of text and not just as a warning button when you click enroll my student, but graphical representation. Have the picture tell the words, have a timeline, have things where it's really clear. This is what happens here. This is what you can do. This is what happens at this time. And then I think the only other request I have, and this is more for the board, when I met with this team in advance of this meeting to try to get some background to help formulate my questions, something that concerned me was on slide 8, we were talking about what happens after the 15th day of school. And I just want to make sure I understood properly is when the slide says that a class could become out of compliance with the contract mandated limits, that essentially means if someone moves into that neighborhood school, that could force a bump after the 15th day. That's what's currently proposed. Okay, I'm seeing nods just in case the camera is not pointing towards them. So I will say I think that is something I would like to revisit with the Attorney General before we are asked to adopt the policy that sets this into place, because I think I'm all for having everyone be equally situated, not just because I clicked the button first 10 minutes before someone else, my kid gets bumped and theirs doesn't. But I think after the 15th day of school, it's not even last in, first out anymore. You're not in yet. You're in the middle of the school year. And I think it's really disruptive. We can't have kids a month into the school year thinking that they're set, thinking that they made it past the 15th day, and then someone just happens to move in next door to the school, and then your kid gets bumped to some school they don't know. I think that's hard for families to come back from, and it's hard for kids to come back from. So I would say, I would like to look at, of course, we need to have a situation built in for the exempt students. So if you're one of these exempt categories and you move into that neighborhood school, I think that should be the case. But if you just happen to move into the neighborhood, we'll get you into your neighborhood school next year. But for the time being, you're not even in the district or you're not even in that neighborhood school yet anyway. We'll find you a home if there's not a space until the next year. And I think that is consistent with the reasons the Attorney General looked at this, because we are looking at the kids who are in the exempt categories whose rights need to be respected, and given their own lane essentially to make sure that they are in the school of their neighborhood. But for other students who are not in that category, I think we need to recognize the balance of what the impact is on kids who are settled into the school year already past the 15th day.
Yeah, and that's the ultimate goal of this is to get the communication, get the process right. So as it stands right now, after the 15th day, it triggers the phase 2, which goes back the first day, the first of the last of the third trimester of the year before to the current day. But if a kid comes into a school that's impacted, the hope is to get the information out to give them other options so it doesn't trigger the phase 2. But your concerns will be brought back to the work group and the OHG office. Thank you.
Thank you. And I mean, I lived this myself. We moved midway through the school year last year, and we moved from the Pony Express area, well, technically the Caroline Wenzel area, to the Matsuyama area, and I wasn't expecting that my daughter and my son would change schools mid-year and bump someone who's already in there. I was like, we're going to get him in next year. And I think most families would understand that, again, unless you're in one of those exempt categories when there's a reason that you need a separate process. But I appreciate it. And I think, I'm happy to talk to the Attorney General and share my thoughts with them directly.
I too just want to say thanks to everybody who's participated in this process. I know it's been a lot of really deep conversation. As a teacher, I understand how important it is for our classrooms to be at the numbers they need to be so that students can learn and teachers and all education support staff can effectively do their jobs. And that no process in this is going to be one that feels good. I just haven't seen that. So I just want to say thank you so much for all the work that you're doing and how carefully we're thinking this through from all angles. And I think it's one of those okay, we've got a new idea, let's try it out, and let's keep bringing in all the questions or the concerns that keep happening, and then keep doing better the next time we're able to keep doing better, right? That's what we're going to do. Member Navarro.
So something just kind of occurred to me, and on the exempt student groups, I would just like to see a period in time when parents are able to kind of appeal or make sure that there's a process to review to make sure the students were included in this exempt list. If somehow we kind of made a mistake, that we give the parents, some time to kind of challenge whether or not their kid belongs in one of these groups that we may have missed. So that was just kind of something that came up too. I don't know if you guys already thought about this or if it's already built into the timelines, but just something that kind of occurred to me. And then the other thing, obviously communication. And I don't know if we can talk about it on site if I'm not explaining myself correctly, but then the other thing, obviously communication in all languages, make sure that all of our families get it. And that's it, but thank you for all this work, obviously.
Superintendent McCarn.
Thank you, and thank you, board members. I want to welcome Stuart and Leah to the team, and yeesh. Welcome you to the team. We're excited to have you on the team, and thank everyone. Thank the entire team, Rick, Tuan, April, Aaron, the entire team working to support on what we know is a really difficult and complex process and situation that directly affects our students and families in our entire system. I know it's tricky and difficult, and you're navigating it well. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Moving on to 12.1, approve contracts report over $15,000. We've got our tiny little print in front of us. Are there any that people want to pull and discuss? Sorry. All right. Would you like to present at all?
Yeah, good evening, President Jean, Superintendent, members of the board. I'm Robert Aldama, Purchasing and Contracts Manager, here to support if you have any questions related to the contracts report.
Awesome. Thank you for introducing yourself. And now I'll ask, do we have any public comment on this?
No public comment.
Excellent. And do we have any board member comment? Are there any you're wanting to ask questions about, hold for discussion? From what I can see, much of this is in very specific funds that are dedicated to very specific funding sources and issues. Member Ibarra.
I can't remember where I probably said this before, but, and this is just in general, but moving forward, I think what would be helpful with this when we're looking at this is seeing the special education stuff together. Because right now what we get is this long list, and I think it's because it's by code that it's, you literally have to fish it out. And I know that we have some people who reach out to us consistently around special education specifically, and I really appreciate and value their feedback. Sure. But I also know that it makes it harder for me to follow what they're saying. So if there's a way for us to get those expenditures at least together at some part of the document, whether it's at the top, middle, wherever, I don't care, but that would be really helpful for us.
Absolutely.
Member Kayada.
So for those of you who vicariously browse our website to see when the agendas post, you will notice that this is an amended item. The original item did have millions of dollars of general fund approvals here. I would like to thank staff for pulling that for the time being, because as we just heard it from the county, we're not in a position to just be writing checks willy-nilly. It's not business as usual. So I appreciate that we're going to take our time to do those properly. And just one request to staff that was on that report, and it's not for approval tonight, but I would like to request that we look at controlling our CalCard usage. I don't think at a time when we are not even writing our own checks, when the county has to write our checks for us, that we could have staff, unless it's absolutely part of their job description, just having credit cards where they can incur costs to the district that we'll have to pay. So I'd like to limit the CalCards. We're broke right now. We can't be running around with a credit card. Every household knows who's on a tight budget. The first thing you do when you're broke is you cut off that credit card and you keep that one for the last minute emergencies, but you're not running around town just spending. So,
absolutely.
Right, thank you.
Oh, thank you. And Member Kayada, we've already taken steps to restrict CalCard usage dramatically this year.
Superintendent McCarn.
Thank you. Yes, both reduce and restrict the ones that are still active and available. The usage is down significantly as the next phase going on, but thank you for that suggestion. It's a really good one that the team has been working on. I wanted you all, although Robert is not a new face, he has been here for a long time. We haven't had the privilege of having him come up. And so, board, I want you to know that Robert Aldama has been in our purchasing department and with our district for a long time, and we appreciate all of his hard work and things that he does. You might see more of him, and I wanted you to know who he was. So thank you, Robert.
Yep, 23 years this year.
Thank you for your service. Congratulations, and thank you so much. I will entertain a motion.
I'll move it.
Do we have a second? A second. And student preferential votes?
Aye.
Roll call vote.
Member Jean?
Aye.
Member Kayada?
Aye.
Member Benjamin?
Aye.
Member Navarro?
Aye.
Member Rhodes?
Aye.
Member Singh?
Aye.
Member Ibarra?
Aye. Thank you so very much. Congratulations on your first presentation. Number 13.0, our future board meeting. We do have a special workshop meeting in 1 week from today, July 30th, 5 p.m. closed session, 6 p.m. open session. And then our 2 meetings in August, our regular workshop meetings, will be August 6th, August 20th, 5 p.m. closed session and 6:30 open. We are officially adjourned 32 minutes early.